Welcome back. Today we're jumping into one of the most curious chapters in the entire book of Revelation. It's a moment where, get this, the apocalypse literally gets put on pause.
So let's set the scene, right? The tension is cranked up to 11. 6 of the 7 apocalyptic trumpets have already sounded, and I mean, it's just chaos everywhere. And right when you think the final world-ending 7th trumpet is about to blow, everything just stops, dead in its tracks. And the reason for this sudden pause? It's this incredible interlude that introduces us to a brand new, super powerful figure in a message that changes everything.
And just like that, the camera, so to speak, just pivots. Suddenly, we're looking at this being described as a mighty angel coming down from heaven. And let me tell you, his arrival is not subtle. The way the author John describes him is just loaded with incredible symbolism.
I mean, every single detail here matters. He's clothed with a cloud, there's a rainbow on his head, his face shines like the sun. These are all huge signs, basically markers that shout, hey, this guy just came directly from the presence of God. It's an image that just screams immense power and divine authority.
So naturally, you've got to ask, who is this mighty angel? And this is where it gets really interesting, because the text never actually names him. It just gives us these clues, and those clues have led to a couple of major theories about his true identity.
The arguments here are really cool to look at. So on one side, you have the description of his face being like the sun, which sounds exactly like a description of Jesus from earlier in this very same book. But, and this is a big but, the New Testament is usually super careful not to mix up angels and Jesus. So that leads a lot of people to another idea. Maybe this is someone like Michael the Archangel, who we know from other parts of the Bible holds a similar kind of authority.
And check out his posture. This isn't just some random power pose. He plants one foot on the sea and the other on the land. What he's doing is making a huge visual statement. I am in complete command of the entire world. As one commentator said, it literally means all things are under his feet.
Okay, so the angel cries out, and it sounds like a roaring lion. And then, things get even weirder. 7 thunders answer him, and whatever they say introduces a brand new mystery, one that John is specifically told he can't share.
Can you just imagine being John right then? He hears this incredible, thunderous, divine message. He's probably grabbing his pen, ready to write it down for all of history, and then bam! A voice from heaven cuts in with the direct order, seal it up, do not write it.
Which brings us to a really important question. Why mention it at all if we're not supposed to know what was said? Well, it turns out the very act of hiding this information, that serves a purpose all on its own.
Yeah, it's basically a lesson in humility. Think about it. Even in a book that's literally called the revelation, the unveiling, God has decided to keep some things secret. It's this powerful reminder that, hey, we don't have all the answers. We should probably approach prophecy knowing that some secrets just belong to God.
And just when you think it can't get any stranger, it does. The angel is holding this little book, and John gets an order that is, well, both very literal and deeply, deeply symbolic. He's told to take the book and eat it. Yeah, eat it. It's this powerful metaphor, right? He has to take this divine message and literally consume it to make it part of his very being. And the experience is wild. In his mouth, it's as sweet as honey, but once it hits his stomach, it turns bitter.
So what's the deal with that sensation? Well, here's the meaning behind it. The message from God is sweet because, hey, it's divine truth. It's a revelation of his awesome plan. But it's also bitter because that same plan includes judgment and hardship and having to face the tough realities of a broken world. It's such a powerful idea, isn't it? That some truths can be both amazing to hear and incredibly difficult to live with.
This whole symbolic act teaches a really deep lesson for any messenger. It's not enough to just repeat God's word. You have to really absorb it, digest it. Let it become a part of you, the good, the bad, the sweet, and the bitter, before you can go out and proclaim it with any kind of real conviction.
So after John goes through this whole ordeal and internalizes that bittersweet message, the mighty angel does something huge. He raises his hand to heaven and makes a solemn oath. And this right here, this is a major turning point. It's the signal that the pause is officially over. And what he says is a moment of absolute finality. He swears an oath that there should be delay no longer. The time for God holding back, for giving more chances, that's coming to an end. The angel is basically declaring that the final stage of God's plan is now in motion, and there are no more delays.
The oath also says something else really important, that the mystery of God would be finished. So, What does that mean? What is this mystery? Well, in the Bible, that word has a very specific meaning.
See, a biblical mystery isn't like a Sherlock Holmes puzzle that we can solve if we're clever enough. Nope, it's a truth that is literally impossible for us to figure out on our own. The only way we can know it is if God decides to pull back the curtain and reveal it.
And the Bible uses this word mystery to talk about some really core ideas in God's plan. Things like the whole purpose of the church, the gospel itself, and even the idea of Jesus living in believers. All of those are called mysteries.
So when we hear it here in Revelation 10, this mystery is talking about God's ultimate, final plan for all of history. For centuries, people have wrestled with that huge question, why does a good God let bad things happen? Well, the angel's oath is basically saying that the time for asking that question is over, because God's final answer, his resolution for everything, is about to be revealed once and for all.
And with that declaration hanging in the air, John's personal trial comes to an end, but it ends with a brand new mission. He's tasted the sweetness of God's truth and the bitterness of his judgment, and now he's being recommissioned. He's told you have to go and prophesy again, and not just to his own people, but to everyone, to many peoples, nations, tongues, and kings.
And that really brings us to our final thought here. John's whole experience, eating that bittersweet book, it's more than just a weird story. It's this timeless metaphor. It kind of forces us to look in the mirror and ask ourselves, what truth in my life is both sweet to hear but kind of bitter to digest? What's something that's comforting on the surface but really challenging once I let it sink in? It's a deep question, and it really shows how this ancient, wild, apocalyptic vision can still speak directly to us today.